Bula. Let's try that again. Bula. Awesome. How you doing? Good. If somebody were to ask me that right now. Not so good, if I'm being honest. Standing up here, my heart is about to beat out of my chest. Thank you. Appreciate it. Some of the tips that I got from some people that I met over at the dinner last night was, don't take it, what's this? Just think of it as speaking to a friend. So friends, I have a humble request if you could just smile to me, because firstly, you look more beautiful and handsome when you smile. And secondly, it makes my job more easy to stand up in front of you and present for the next few minutes, which I'm not used to. And as Nick has mentioned, this is my first time here, and I've been overwhelmed by the many presentations and workshops and by experts and professionals that are in the room. And I'm just privileged to be given this opportunity to be also able to present on the work that we contribute to this community, the open source family. So today, thank you, Alex. So today I'll be presenting on Tonga capacity building in the application of open source tool. As mentioned by my colleague and boss, Mr. Thompson Auri, why do we use open source tool at SPC? This was one of the first questions that I asked one of my friends sitting at the back there, Mr. Kishan Kumar, as I started as an intern. Why do we use QGIS here at SPC? You're a regional organization. You have a lot of money. Why can't you buy licenses? So, because prior to joining SPC, I had done an attachment for 3 months with the Ministry of Agriculture in Fiji, and most of the work that I do, land use and land cover mapping and all of these provincial maps, were done through ArcGIS and ArcMap. And to me, in my head, the math wasn't mathing. So he told me, as mentioned by Thompson, that when we work with Pacific Island countries, most of these countries do not have the finance to facilitate or to be able to pay for these licenses. Hence, open source tool, or QGIS for that matter, is a better option. So this is our counterpart that we work with, and this is the Tonga Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Forest. A brief background of how this project came to be. So, with the various activities and work that we have carried out with Tonga, the Tonga Ministry of Agriculture and Food and Forestry identified 2 needs that they required assistance on. And this first being to build capacity at a subnational and island level in the collection of data to be able to also analyze this data. And this contributes in decision-making at a national level. That's the first need. And the second one being for a practical, evidence-based approach to enable Pacific Island communities to identify forest areas at greatest risks of invasive species. So SPC, noting these needs, came up with 2 projects to facilitate it. 2 FIT projects. And what is FIT, I'll get to in a minute. And the 2 projects that would address these needs, first being the application of open source tool, and the second one, which is a bit of a mouthful, but is basically trying to deal with invasive species. And it is a management, developing a management model to guide research policy directed for effective forestry decision-making invasive species. If you want to know more about the second project, Nick works closely with the other division within our organization that facilitates that project. But I'll speak mostly on the first one that is highlighted. So as I've mentioned, what is FIT? So FIT is basically the abbreviation of funding with intent. And this funding is intended to increase capabilities in innovation and also increase capacity development and applying integrated multi-sectoral approaches to development challenges. It is supported by MFAT New Zealand as a part of a broader New Zealand and SPC partnership, and is managed by the strategy, performance, and learning team within SPC. So this peer-to-peer exchange is intended to increase self-reliance and strengthen collaboration between Pacific Island countries, and at the same time, managing the demands of SPC-led capacity building in the region. So this project is a short project with a timeline of 1 year and has 3 phases. We've completed 2, and that is the inception meeting that was carried out in May, and the second, our training, which is facilitated in July, and the final one we wish to have before we join this conference, so that we will present to you how effective our trainings have been in the countries. But unfortunately, we'll get to that as soon as we get back to Fiji. And that is the only thing that we're left with, evaluation. So with the many divisions in the Ministry of Agriculture, these are the 4 main divisions that we've worked closely with in this capacity building program. The crop division, crop extension, people that deal with crops and livestock, and quarantine, basically border security, and forestry department. So the focus on capacity building that our team was able to facilitate or provide was training on KoBo Toolbox, QGIS, a bit of drone training, just to get the participants to have an idea of what a drone survey workflow looks like and how they could incorporate that into their work in collecting data from the field and visualizing that on QGIS. And also Excel. You might be wondering, why do you have Excel up there? Well, for the first time also that I realized that attending this training, that we could also develop dashboards using Excel. And that is what we did. So KoBo Toolbox. I'll be showing you a clip. Apologies, I'll just step out for a minute here. Due to some technical issues, I'm unable to just play it directly off my laptop, so I need to go again here. So please bear with me. Thank you very much. Okay, I think it's this one. Okay, wait. So yeah, that is our pre-training evaluation, trying to get a feel of the room, of where participants at, and their awareness of this tool that we're about to train them on. And it is facilitated by these 2 beautiful young ladies, Berlita Leombete and Vilia Nareki. So the training consists of assisting the participants in setting up an account through the humanitarian website, and then familiarizing themselves with the KoBo Toolbox, how to develop a form, how the questions look like, and what are the potentials or capabilities of that tool that they could use. They could capture pictures and geolocate whatever data they would try to collect. And this was something that they were very happy to hear and learn. And after doing so, we encouraged them to develop forms for their respective departments, because we had 4 divisions in one room. So we'd encourage them, okay, you from livestock, develop a form on how you would collect data in your field, and crop extension, do the same. And same goes out for the rest of the departments. And that was basically it, and then deployed the forms, and that's the wrap for the first day. Creation of accounts, developing a form, and then apologies. Yes, creation of accounts, development of forms, and deployment of forms. On the second day, we gathered them again and then redistributed to them their tablets, in which they had downloaded their forms, and we were ready to head out and test these forms out in the field. So on this day, we were going to test forms that were created by the livestock division, and the crop extension. So everybody got prepared and jumped on the bus, and we headed down into the market. And this is Tonga. For most of you who have not been to Tonga, it's a bit cold too there. So this is the crop extension team here in the market in Tonga, in Nuku'alofa, and this is our team assisting them and collecting data from the market. And as I've mentioned, something that they really liked about this tool was the features that he could geolocate and also take pictures of what data they were collecting. And this was a big step for them because they were still back in the paper pen era. A lot of the data collection that they would do, they would have to take their pen and paper and physically jot it down and then come back to the office and then re-enter that data into the Excel sheet, which was a very long process. And once they found out that they could actually gather data and then download the results that they've collected, the data they collected in Excel format, it made them realize how efficient that they could do their work in incorporating this tool in their data collection. So that is our team answering their questions and queries and giving them time to also prepare, because after this we requested them to present on the forms that they've created and what type of data that they were looking forward to go and collect. And that was basically what we had done in the KoBo training with our participants. And after that, we had a post-training evaluation to see how effective this training was, or was it delivered to the expectation? Were they able to understand it easily? And I believe one thing about our team was they had the ability to translate technical terms into non-technical language, taking into consideration that most of our participants aren't familiar with using this kind of softwares and are just using it for the first time. And the manuals that they've developed, as mentioned by Mr. Thompson, that these are manuals that were developed from Pegraphy project, and over the continuous delivery of trainings, our team has been able to present them seamlessly and easy for participants to understand and follow through the manuals. It is so simple that even someone that is not familiar with the software will just walk in, has no idea for the first time, sit down, these training sessions, could leave and become an expert in collecting data. So this was on the last day of our training, heading out into the field and trying to collect something for the forest gang, for the forestry department. Apologies, in the interest of time, I'll just cut it short. But yes. The next one, drone training. So basically familiarizing themselves with drone survey workflow and how they could incorporate collecting that data and bringing it and visualizing that on QGIS, and also making informed decisions. And finally, dashboard creation using Excel. This training was facilitated by Mr. Thompson. And I would say that this training has been a success, because after we had this training, a few participants shared the details about projects they have started or plan to implement, utilizing the skills and knowledge gained from the training to enhance their work in their respective divisions. And some of the projects include market surveys, and this the Agriculture Department to conduct market surveys every Saturday using hard copies. And with this training, they have tried out using KoBo forms for the survey and are planning to develop a dashboard for data visualization. The second project, annual agricultural survey, planning to use KoBo forms, including drone surveys for plantations. Third project, the forest inventory, planning to use KoBo forms and dashboard to record and visualize seedlings produced, planted, and harvested. Fourth one, food processing and container inspection. Create a database for food exported using KoBo and Excel. And I believe that is my time up. Apologies, I could go on and on, but basically this project has been a success. And I think that's it.
Plug it,
Oh,
but I think that's your time, though. I think.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Everyone, thanks, Simon.
Thank you very much.
We do have enough time for 1 or 2 questions, if there are any questions in the room. Yep.
What kind of information were they capturing in the markets, and did they have a location attached to it?
Yes. From the markets, they were getting crop informations about the farmers, the producers that were at the market, different types of vegetables, root crops, and the farmers, and also where they were being harvested from. So, yes. Thank you.
With the drone data that you're capturing and then using in QGIS, how are you using it? In QGIS, just a view, or would you grab information off it?
Okay, so we used the Pix4D capture to design these flight plans, and Pix4D mapper to process these images and throw onto QGIS to basically do maps and help them see that this is the potential of drone surveying and what they could do with it. Example that we used in our drone training was a crop count, and that training was facilitated by Mr. Thompson Auri. If you wish to elaborate more on this, Thompson. So that was basically what we had incorporated drone survey and the training. Maybe they could go out and take flights on plantations, or if they wanted to do inventory of or plant count, we just showed them an example and just the potential of what they could do with QGIS, not only visualizing data that's collected from KoBo, but also using their drone, because they had a drone and they weren't using it to its full potential.
Okay, thanks, Sai, everyone. Thank you, Sai.
Naka.